May had left £13,000 when she died. Hector had been searching for May's family. His last hope was Betty, May's cousin. She had married in her 20s to Donald. If they had children, they would be heirs.
When we found Betty and Donald marrying, we thought that Betty was in her prime to be able to have children, and we couldn't find any children.
Cleverly, Hector decided to turn his research on its head. Betty had died in 2008. He took a look at Betty's death record to see who the informant was.
We found her death and we saw that there was an informant, a son called Donald.
It was a major breakthrough, but Hector still couldn't find a birth certificate to confirm his findings.
We thought maybe he was adopted or maybe he was born abroad.
In the 20th century, many families moved about the British Empire on postings abroad. Newlyweds Donald and Betty were from Dundee, and this town had many historical connections with the jute industry. Donald was employed as a mill manager in the jute mills of Calcutta. Jute, a rough fibre, was used to produce sacking.
It was the world's plastic packing material, and for a long period of time, probably from the 1830s right into the 20th century, there was an enormous worldwide demand for jute.
Part of this demand was also fueled by the cataclysmic conflicts of the last century.
Jute was the great material during wartime, primarily for sandbags. And so the periods of boom in the Dundee jute industry were like the First World War and the Second World War.
For centuries, Dundee had a major centre for linen. Linen was made with flax, but this material wasn't tough enough for sacking and heavy use. Jute was strong enough, but difficult to weave, until a neat solution presented itself.
The secret of Dundee's transition from flax to jute was that Dundee was also a significant whaling centre, and the whale oil was just perfect as a material for softening the jute, and made it possible to batch it and process it and spin it and ultimately weave it.
Production was moved to the Indian subcontinent, where the jute was grown and the mills needed experienced hands to run them.
The Dundonians who were drawn to the Calcutta jute industry tended to be mill managers, they tended to be overseers, technicians, and indeed these individuals were hugely highly valued in Calcutta.
Betty and her mill manager husband Donald were residents in Calcutta for at least 15 years of their married life.